Hi, my name is John Adams, and in this video essay I explore how Darius Marder used sound not just as a design element, but as a subjective sensory experience. My guiding question is, what happens when filmmaking makes the audience experience hearing loss from the inside? And why does that matter for understanding identity, embodiment, and cinema aesthetics? Unlike most films about disability, Sound of Metal does not simply show hearing loss, it makes the viewer inhabit it. Marder's aesthetics center on sonic subjectivity, sound as lived perception. I agree that this approach creates a phenomenological encounter, collapsing the distance between viewer and character. The film uses sound as an interior point of hearing, forcing the audience to feel the instability, fear, and transformation that Rubin experiences. Scholar Satilik Benson Allah noted that the Sound of Metal foregrounds point of hearing sound designed to stabilize the spectator's comfort and identification. This is the key Marder rejects the polished realism of Hollywood sound. Instead, he makes hearing fragile, distorted, and mechanical. Benson Allen argues that by letting us hear the world as Rubin hears it, buzzing, muffled, glitching, the film turns sound into a site of identity crisis. The view is no longer outside the character's experience, we are trapped in it with him. This supports my argument that Marder's film is not about losing sound, but about losing a familiar version of oneself. Across the scenes, the spectator navigates shifting auditory words, clean sound, chaotic, muffling, digital distortion, and finally the radical silence of acceptance. These transitions are not narrative beats, they are aesthetic arguments, reinforcing that each phase of Rubin's identity is tied to how he hears it. A 2023 article, Music, Sound, and the Moving Image provides a framework for this. Rodrigo Carrios and his co-authors argue that the film is built around three immersive listening modes: natural hearing, perceptual collapse, and technological hearing. Cario Apolowski and Moraes, 2023. This directly supports my claim that Marder uses sound not as an objective soundtrack, but as a perceptual filter. Each mode is a stage in Rubin's identity transformation. The harsh digital audio of the cochlear implant is not an error, it's an aesthetic choice. The film emphasizes rupture, instability, and the unnaturalness of restoring hearing. As Curio notes, the sound is intentionally alienated to replicate the phonologically aspects of hearing prosthetics. When Rubin loses his hearing, the soundtrack collapses into low-frequency vibrations and distant thumps. These are not effects, they are interior auditory sensations. This is cinema as an embodiment. Throughout this aesthetic, the film refuses objective realism. Instead, it proposes a phonologically cinema where sound is the core of the identity. Asta Singh's 2023 article in Technotic Arts helps situate the film with death culture representation. Sin argues that the film highlights the valley of death cultural spaces where communication is embodied, visual and communal. This lets us reread the film's aesthetic shift when Rubin enters a community. Silence becomes a place of growth, not loss. This supports Marder's visual and sonic shift. Handheld chaos gives way to stable shots, long takes, and natural lighting. Silence becomes a new mode of listening. The final moment when Rubin removes the implants and sits in absolute stillness functions as a punctum, a moment of piercing emotional clarity. After a film defined by noise and distortion, silence becomes revelation. Marder uses sensory deprivation as a physiological gesture. Acceptance is not the return to hearing, but the return to presence. So what happens when film makes us experience hearing loss? Sound of Metal transforms sound into a tool of phenomenological storytelling through sonic subjectivity. It forces the viewer into this instability of Rubin's inner world, supported by Benson Allen's analysis of point of hearing sound and Cario's framework of immersive listening modes. It becomes clear that Marder's aesthetic is not realism, it is embodiment. Darius Marder's sound design redefines what cinema can communicate about identity, disability, and selfhood by collapsing the boundaries between character and audience. Sound of Metal creates a new sonic aesthetic, one where hearing is not a sense, but hearing is a narrative. Thank you for watching. I hope you understood this video, learned a little bit, and it was a fun class this year. Thank you.